Gentlemen, Antonio here. All right, let's talk about watches. In particular, we're going to talk about watch size, watch proportion, and why it matters when you're going out there and trying to find the perfect watch for you. So imagine you go online and you find one that has a great style, it's a great color, great look. You buy the watch, you get it delivered, you put it on your wrist, you're looking at it, and you're like, I don't know, something is off about this watch. It could be that it's the wrong size for your wrist. Basically, the proportions are off. As human beings, we're very good at identifying incorrect and correct proportions. We lean towards correct proportions. It's just something in our nature that we go towards what we consider to be normal. Now, when it comes to proportions, if you've got a smaller wrist, you're going to want to go for a smaller watch. If you have larger wrists, you're going to want to go for a larger watch. In this video, I'm going to go for 5 things that you want to look for on a watch to make sure it's going to be the right size and therefore proportion depending on what size wrist you have. Now, everything I'm going to be showing you here is provided by Movement Watches. They're a great company. What I really like about them is in 2013, they started over on Indiegogo and they since exploded. They've got tons of different watches. I'm going to link to them right here. And the cool part about this is they sent me some samples. And these samples are, in many cases, they were the wrong size. They were the wrong proportion for my wrist size. You see, I've got 6.5 inch wrists. What does that mean? Well, I've got to wear a smaller watch. I can tell you I've got these samples over here and I would love to get rid of them. So in the comments down below, please go over to Movement Watches and find a style, find a particular type that you like, put it in the comments, and if it matches one of the 2 watches that I've got right over here, I will personally send you out this watch. So I'm going to check the comments, guys. Wish you the best of luck on that. And I can tell you that I did keep one of them because, like I said, my wrist's about 6.5 inches in diameter. Therefore, 38 millimeter, 40 millimeter, and 42 millimeter watches work for me. And that's what I'm going to gravitate towards. And I am wearing one of their Movement 40 millimeter watch in their 40 millimeter collection. So go check them out. Okay, guys, so the 5 points that I was alluding to, and I think every man should be thinking about when he goes out there and he sizes a watch. Number 1 is going to be case diameter. So I've already alluded to it by saying, 38, 40. So those are going to be the common diameters out there. You're going to see it go as high as 50 in some cases, but normally 45, 46, that's going to be a bit larger. And in fact, the samples I have here are 45s, which you can go see in their Chrono and their Classic collection. 40 worked for me. Again, because of my wrist size. Now, the next thing you want to look at is going to be the case thickness. Case thickness is often directly correlated with actually the case diameter. I know, case thickness has a history of actually the thinner it was, the more higher end watch it was perceived to be. This goes back to mechanical watches, and thinner watches were believed to basically require more work, therefore they were more valuable. However, it's since kind of moved away from that now with electronic watches and with watches that are going more for a fashion look. So sometimes you'll see really, it's got a thick diameter, maybe a 46 or a 45, and it'll have like a 9 millimeter or a 10 millimeter thickness. This watch right here, it's a 40, and it's got actually a 7 millimeter thickness right here. So I personally like it when a watch, I think as it gets smaller in the diameter, the thickness should go down as well. That's just my personal preference. You want to find what works for you and proportionally you think looks good on your wrist. Now, the third point that we want to pay attention to, the bandwidth. So on this 40 millimeter, what we see is a bandwidth of about 20. Usually you'll take the case diameter, divide it by 2, and that's approximately what you want to see in the actual width of the band. So if you go for an oversized band, which you can do, so and right here what we see is the lug width. Now the lug width oftentimes determines the width of the band, and this can be, we'll see these bands anywhere from 18 to almost in some cases 30, but you can actually go out, depending on the band, you can get some that are going to be wider. I personally don't like wide bands. Then again, I've got smaller wrists. If you have larger wrists and you like larger watches, you can also go with larger bands. But going with too large of a band on a smaller diameter watch can oftentimes, it just throws the proportions off. But again, if that's what you like, go for it. Next thing we want to look for is the material that's being used. Leather is going to oftentimes give a slimmer, leaner look. Metal bands are going to look heavier. Finally, number 5, you want to look at all the other components. So you want to look at the crown. You want to look if there's a pusher, and that's usually going to be on a more complicated watch. You also want to look at the times, at the hour points, and you want to look at the hands. As those get thicker, as those get heavier, as the numbers get larger, all of that gives the illusion of it's actually a larger, heavier watch. So again, if you want to keep the watch simpler, that's going to give it a more streamlined look. If you've got a 38 or a 40, you want to be careful with adding too many components on it. It's going to make the watch look bigger and therefore a bit more clumsy. Does that make sense? Okay, guys, so go check out the company, Movement Watches, right here. Great company, and let me know in the comments what you think the watches are. In addition, I've got an entire article over at Real Men Real Style. Boom, I'm going to link to it right over here. In that article, I go into more detail about each of the 5 points so that you can use this information to make a smart purchasing decision. Gentlemen, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.